Just wait.
Us bitching
Okay.
at Tim was gold.
And go.
Us
All right,
bitching at
okay.
Tim was gold, Chris. We missed all of that.
It's fine.
It'll happen again in like 5 minutes, guaranteed.
Listen, I got something on my mind, and I need to get it out.
Okay. Get the evil out.
I've had both of you ask me about Destiny 2 expansion.
Yes.
I've had both of you say, "Oh, so what do you think? Should I jump into this thing? Because I bought the digital deluxe stupid $120 piece of shit that has like the first couple of expansions in it, right?"
I wonder where you're going with this, but
Yeah,
sure.
tell us how you really feel, Chris.
Now, I want to preface this with I love Destiny. I love the first game. I platinumed the first game. I platinumed, yeah.
Oh, it must have taken a while.
Dude, the hardest one in it, and I know we've talked about it before, is Flawless Raider.
Oh, you did tell me about this, but I don't know if you. I think you talked about it on the podcast.
Why do I go over it again?
All right.
One of the best, like, really honest truth, like one of my favorite gaming memories, like one of my favorite experiences playing video games in my entire life. And that's 30 years of playing video games.
Yeah.
But one of the trophies, and the last trophy that I needed for the platinum, was the Flawless Raider trophy, which requires you to complete a raid with a fire team of 6 people, and you clear the raid with nobody dying even once. Which is, I think it's pretty intense. If you think about it, I know you guys did a couple of raids with us, right? And on the Leviathan. Could you imagine doing that where nobody dies?
No.
Ridiculous, right?
No.
And we did that shit. It's crazy. Like, we went in one night and said, okay, this is Flawless Raider night. Everybody be super careful. Everybody watch each other's back, communicate properly. Like, just if it takes multiple times to, if we have to do more, more rounds, more waves, more whatever I'm talking about, right? More cycles.
Yeah.
Let it happen. Just do it safely. And we pulled it off. It was nuts. I think we did it on our 3rd run of the night. So we would die, and then somebody would die, and we'd be like, oh, fuck. And then we'd leave and come back in and try it again, right? But I think we did on
How long is the raid? How many minutes?
Probably a little over an hour.
It's really different from what this is, Tim.
But we had it like on farm by this point, right? Like, we knew exactly how to do it. It was just going through the motions every week just to do it, because that was back when there was a point to doing the raid and you got a rush from killing a boss because you got shit. Fucking Destiny.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but like this raid is basically like three raids combined into one long one, right? Isn't that the kind of overall pacing? Yeah.
You mean in Destiny 2?
In Destiny 2, yeah.
No, the one in Destiny 2 is bullshit. Like, so you know how strikes work, where you start and you go through and you kill. Yep. Well, no, so say it's like 3 strikes attached to each other.
Right.
Is that fair? With like a big boss with like really crazy mechanics on it.
Yeah.
Like it's like that. Or if you think about it, if you played Warcraft at all, or World of Warcraft, then it's like a long strike or a long dungeon.
Yeah.
Right, where you have like mid bosses and you got whatever, and then the guy at the end. And so we did it on Dark Below, which was the second or the first expansion.
Yeah.
And it was good. I mean, the first run, I think somebody died pretty quickly. The second one, we made it to the last boss, and then somebody ate it. And I was like, all right, let's try it again. We were really, really close. And then the third time, there was a couple of clutch moments, but we managed to pull it off, which was very, very rewarding. Very gratifying experience, and that platinum is one of the ones that I'm happy that I got that over almost any other. Right?
Yeah, that's cool. That's actually really cool.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how much you guys put into it, but I got the platinum trophy on Destiny 2, which apparently you can't get anymore.
What?
Really?
I'm not really sure. I don't know if it's you can't get it at all, or you can't do it without having the expansion now.
I think that's what it is, because you can't.
Yeah, you can't do Nightfall, right?
The Prestige Raid or something.
Prestige Raid, Prestige Nightfall, and that was one of the requirements of the platinum. And so if you didn't get it, then you can't get the platinum anymore unless you buy the expansion, which I also think is bullshit. Because
tell us about this expansion, then, Chris.
Yeah, so I'm going to tell you my experience with it, okay?
Mm-hmm.
It came out Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
Normally, this is the kind of stuff that like I take a day off of work for, or something that like I don't know if we've talked about this before, but I remember when Rise of Iron came out. That was the last Destiny expansion. I was up at 5 a.m. Gareth was up at 5 a.m. Jackie came out like 6 a.m. And even though the servers were like, they were borked as shit until like 10, like we sat there for 5 hours hitting restart, reload, log.
Yeah.
Just
There's a few games, like I can think of that I've ever done something like that for. Like I could probably list them on my both hands.
and totally making the problem worse by sitting there hammering servers, right?
Yeah, but you might get in.
Yeah, you might be that guy. And just, being so excited, and it's part of the experience. Is just you sit and you chat with friends. Like, I don't care that I can't get in. It's just I would like to, but it's part of the fun, right?
Handling this all with all the grace of a Black Friday deal.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. So then this one, I log on Tuesday after work. I was like, oh, I paid for this thing. I didn't really feel excited about it, but I'll give it a go. I played 40 minutes, turned it off, went and did something else. Came back a little later on, figuring that, there's going to be people on, we can do some stuff together.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody was playing it.
Really?
The day that a Destiny expansion launched, nobody was playing.
Uh-huh.
I played Wednesday night, and Wednesday is when I finished the story, and I'll get back to that in a second too. And I haven't touched it since. No, that's not true. I logged in just for like 30 seconds to pick up the lens.
The lens, yeah.
And outside of that, I have not played it since. I have no interest in getting back into it. Nobody is playing this game. Like, it's Saturday night. I was. We can talk about Tokyo Xanadu too, but
now we're talking.
But Saturday night, I'm sitting there playing this game. I have 10 people on my friends list. I think 8 of them are like pretty hardcore Destiny guys. One of them was playing Destiny. That's a problem.
Yep.
I don't know. It's crazy. Like, okay, so I'm going to give you a quick rundown of what I understand the expansion to be. And from what I hear, there's more stuff coming out next week or something. I don't really understand.
I think I know a bit of that, but yeah.
But all it was, so you can go to Mercury now, and it's a very small kind of hubbish world kind of thing, where you have the entrance to the lighthouse and Osiris, or not Osiris, Brother Vance, a disciple of Osiris, and you have an entrance to is it called Infinite Forest? Does that sound right?
Yeah.
Okay, so whatever it is.
So I'm just distracted because someone's phone is going off in the background because they always leave it on and then an alarm goes off. Anyway, go ahead.
So each of the story missions, it's exactly the same thing.
Where you adventures, right? Like, or something like that, or
well, no,
like actually
it's
linked.
It's story.
Okay.
But the story is just you jump around and do a bunch of shit that you don't care about. You shoot guys. It's not inspired. There's nothing exciting. You're just moving through the world, killing guys, right?
Is the planet cool at all, or?
Well, no, but it's nothing. It's a tiny little hub thing. And then when you go to the Infinite Forest, all it is like it's a giant skybox. You're floating in the air, and it spawns like islands and like modules. And I don't know if they're randomly generated. Maybe. I can't even tell because it's bland and there's nothing interesting happens. But I think I died and maybe it spawned a different one. I'm not sure. But you go through, you kill guys, you get to like a boss, and it's just like, a knight or, some guy with a lot of health.
Are there any new enemies?
Like a Minotaur or something? Yeah, there's a Panoptes. Panoptes.
What is it?
It's a Vex robot thing. The whole thing is that you're trying to kill this thing that's messing with like the timelines to, I don't know. I don't give a shit. It's stupid.
I want to see what this stupid thing looks like because it's literally the only enemy.
It looks like a Hydra. It looks like a big Hydra. So then you do the story mode. There's like 3 missions. I was like, all right, that was dumb, but whatever. Let's see what else we got now. You know what the new strikes are?
The old strikes?
No. The same missions that you did for story, only with 3 people.
Wow.
It's brutal.
Wow.
Like it's unbelievable how shitty it is.
To be a bit fair, they did say that the best stuff is the new raid stuff. Like a lot of people have been saying that.
Who gives a shit though? That's the part that kills me is who cares? If it's what's the point of me doing anything in this game now?
Yeah.
Like in Destiny 1, so the other thing that I read, actually there's a really cool video. I'll see if I can find it. I guess there's a guy that used to play Destiny, is like super like Destiny apologist, like really loved it.
Yeah, I know the video you're talking about actually.
Yeah.
What's his name? I saw the link to it too, and I watched a bit of it. Yeah.
And it was a really decent video, and I really appreciate a lot of the things he said. I didn't realize that like half of the new content, like the new ships and new sparrows and whatever else, are all locked behind Eververse, and the only way to get them is through Bright Engrams.
Oh yeah. Somebody was somebody, I think it was Polygon, had a breakdown of the rates and how like so much of the stuff is now unbalancedly locked behind Eververse, and it's just that might actually kill the entire like Destiny thing, just because.
Well, they already killed it, I think.
But
what we're hearing here.
Like I don't know what they're thinking. If you build up, like they must know that everybody hates Destiny 2, right?
That's what I know. I would wonder that as well, right? Like I wonder how much their player counts have dropped. Do you know what I mean?
They must have. I mean, I can't see how they haven't.
Yeah, they must be panicking. Like I don't know what else they could be doing right now.
I'm not sure they're panicking until now, C10, because like they were like always saying, well, we know a lot of people are gonna like stop playing for a while, but then once expansion comes back, that's when people are gonna come back. So I think if people aren't coming back in droves, or people aren't compelled to buy the expansion, they'll know now, right? Yeah. But we're not gonna see the ripple effect until, I don't know. Like they might not change anything, or the ripple effect might not come back until the next expansion, or even the next season, or whatever you want to call it.
But how many people have you lost though?
Yeah, exactly.
Like if you think, like we were not super hardcore raiders, but we did it at least once a week, like for years. Mm-hmm. And there's a new raid, and nobody is playing.
Mm-hmm.
Anecdotal, right? I'm sure there's lots of groups that are getting in there and doing whatever. I don't really care to do it, and I haven't seen anybody playing all weekend.
You know what it reminds me of a little bit? Not to bring up again to a bore, but it reminds me of the situation with Diablo 3. Yeah, and I wonder if they can turn it around, at least in the way that Diablo 3 did, because it's now, right as we speak now, it's at least like it's still not the game that I wanted it to be, but it's way the hell more fun.
But I don't give a shit. I'm done with Diablo 3. It could be great now, right? But I'm not playing it again.
Yeah. No, and if it was like this when it came, if it was like it was now, pretty close to after it came out, a lot of people probably will be still playing now, even though it's still not the way I'd still have criticisms of it. Like they still turned it around dramatically, or like Final Fantasy, like we've talked about Final Fantasy 14, right? That was like a huge deal, and they went.
What you're saying, and what you're saying then is that they realized there was problems, mm-hmm. and they took steps to fix those problems.
Yeah.
Where I feel that what Bungie has done is realize that there's problems and then double down on them.
Or this is what they did, right? They realized there's problems, made a big post, and they canceled a Twitch stream of the new content, but they didn't delay the new content at all.
Yeah, but they weren't going to delay the content, Tim. Like the whole point of
they should have done.
Okay, but the whole point of them canceling their whole entire Reddit was because they didn't want to have the whole Battlefront thing happen to them, right? Where they had like the most downvoted Battlefront like Reddit most downvoted Reddit post in all of Reddit. So they wanted to avoid that same fiasco is really what it comes down to.
Yeah, so it's just lip service. They didn't actually care.
No, well, come on, you can't change it on a dime like that, Tim. Like the stuff that they're planning right now, that released in this expansion, I'm sure was not made a decision like a month beforehand, right? This is stuff that they've decided on well past like probably before even the game got released.
You may be right, but I think that was the wrong decision based on how things are going down now. I think that was the wrong decision.
But does it matter? Do you expect it to change? Like at this point, what's that?
In the future, it might. But I don't know who's coming back to the game.
Right.
We'll see, I guess. Right.
Like
you might have the same thing like what happened in Destiny 1, right? Where everything was nasty until like which expansion was it that kind of turned things a little bit for Destiny 1? Because like it was like I know you didn't feel this, but like the undercurrent tone from the community going out into the internet was that stuff was bad in Destiny 1 until like I think the first or second expansion came.
Yeah. Second. No, to be honest, everybody hated Dark Below too. I thought it was great, but most people were not into the first expansion either.
Right.
Like ready to write it off.
So they didn't really make that turn until later on, and it takes some time to do that. Now, hopefully they have stuff built in this game so that they can make that change in thought a little bit quicker, but I don't know. We were talking about the other day, the problems with Destiny 2 are maybe a little bit more fundamental, like how all weapons are... No weapon makes you feel powerful because all weapons basically do very similar damage, and it's really hard for you to feel like you've progressed in the game because it'll scale you to whatever your encounter is, right?
Yeah. Or like, here's an example. I somehow read a note on this in the patch. They nerfed one of the exotics for the Titan that would let you do the shoulder charge, and they're like, oh, we're making the shoulder charge not go as far unless you're targeting an enemy.
So the thing that's really fun to play, we're going to take that away from you.
Like, why? Like, that right there is a prime example. Like, why? Everyone loves doing the shoulder charge. It'd be better if the shoulder charge went further. Actually, it would be even more fun. Or, like, you could use that shoulder charge in midair to, like, supplement your jumps even. Like, and then just took it away. It's like,
there was that concept for a while with Dota where they were talking about they will try not to nerf any character, but they will try to bring up other characters so that they would match other characters' abilities. That was their thinking, right? Because nobody likes to play something, have a build, and then nerf a particular ability, right?
But to be honest, Keenan, that shoulder charge when I first actually got to try it, when I first got that unlocked in Destiny 2, was not impressive to me. It was too short range. I was like, this is it? This is the big shoulder charge move? Like, it's kind of short range. I was like, and then I started to get used to it, and I was like, okay, it's better than nothing. And I kind of like it for doing a couple little things here. I wish it went further. And then they actually make it shorter. I was like, okay, this is like, I don't get this. I do not feel powerful in this game, you know? Everything feels like pulled punches. Everything feels like that in Destiny 2 to me, even though I've not played the first one.
And so, like, we were talking about that before, too. Like, sorry, we're rehashing a lot of this stuff, but you were talking about how you don't like how they're gearing this all towards PvP instead of PvE. And, like, things like that feel like they are trying to balance out the PvP more than like make you feel powerful for PvE stuff, right? So I don't know, like,
well, you want to talk about that as well. Interestingly, if you go back to Diablo 3 when it was first like just coming out, or at the very beginning when there was still PvP planned, their gear, that's part of the reason why their gear was so bland, because they were trying to merge PvP and PvE all together. So they were trying to balance all that. Like, they actually had that. I don't know if you remember this, but when they were announcing D3, there was a beta like for testing, and people could like fight each other in an arena, and then that was gone when the game actually launched. So like that was part of the reason why their gear sucked at the very beginning too. Actually, I just remembered that. it's been a long time, but that was one of the major reasons. So strikes again the whole PvE PvP issue.
Brutal.
I mean, World of Warcraft's dealt with that issue too, right, Chris?
Yeah, and we've talked about it a lot too. But one, like, when it was the best, I think, is when you had two different sets. You had your PvE set and you had a PvP set, and they had different stats.
Right.
Your PvP set had resilience, and you needed resilience on your gear, and the only gear that had resilience was PvP gear.
And the cool part of that is guess what? Now you got new gear to chase.
That's right. And now you're playing two games instead of one. That's right.
It's amazing.
Anyways, let's talk about sunnier skies.
Let's move around. Yeah.
I mean,
so to answer your question, fuck Destiny 2. I'm so disappointed. So disappointed.
Look, the people who love something and then get turned and burned, you're always going to be the worst, or hardest, against that, right? That's how it always is, right? Like anything that you love, if it turns bitter and shitty, it makes you not want to be in that anymore. So I totally understand your feelings on that.
You guys think I'd be like an abused wife, and like a couple of months from now, I'm going to be like deep into Destiny 2 again?
Yes, it's just like that.
Well,
so yeah, tell us about Tokyo Xanadu EX.
Yeah. No. Yeah, I will. Let's talk about Monster Hunter first.
All right.
Good cooperative gameplay.
Monster Hunter World Beta was this weekend. I had a lot of fun with it. I think it is still super obtuse, difficult to get into. The barrier to entry is ridiculously high. There's a billion buttons and a billion different menus and shit to juggle and things you gotta keep track of, and as a Monster Hunter
buttons and press other buttons to select things. And
as a Monster Hunter veteran, I would say even I was like, what am I doing? Like, there's shit everywhere, which is good for the long game.
Yes.
But it's not so great when you're trying to get people to buy your game when they're unfamiliar.
Now, to be fair, they put a training mode in, which I was impressed by, and I actually used that. Now, I doubt people who are never played the series are even going to use that. So that's the other side.
No, it's just the training is like BS right now. It doesn't tell you anything about anything.
No, you're right. For example, the Lance apparently has a bunch of moves that the training mode doesn't. None of that. It's not told anywhere. All those new moves for the Lance. None of it. There's no depth in the explanations for the combos. There's a lot of hidden depth that you're never going to see in that unless you know what to do in advance. And there's no instructions on it.
But isn't that the greatest way to build a game? Make it accessible, but then have it ridiculously deep for people who want to push that far, right?
Yeah, I guess I would agree.
I just think that it's not very accessible on a surface level either.
No.
I just
let's recap this. So you, me, Tim, and Don played a little bit this weekend. Don and I are relatively noobs, but we've given attempts, so we kind of have a little of inkling. You and Tim are call you veterans, I guess, because you've basically championed 2 games all the way through to the end.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So.
All right. So that's the experience level, and having us all paired together was actually not that bad. I would say, I used the support, the horn, and it was fun, being a participant in there and boosting your stats and getting in there. And I didn't have to know every single mechanic, but I mean, I could at least participate in there, and that part was good. I don't know Don's feelings too well about it. I think he's still on the fence, but
I think he enjoyed playing it. The one thing that I have to say about Monster Hunter, and Tim, I'm not sure whether you agree or not. I'm going to assume that you do, but the fan base is so helpful and so friendly. And anybody that I've ever played with has always been really, really cool. We talk about Destiny Sherpas and stuff like that. I feel like this is a game where you have just as much fun fighting lower level monsters with noobs as you do fighting against super ridiculous monsters with experienced people.
Yeah. I mean, it's an interesting anecdote relating to that. I agree with you. You know, I watch Twitch a lot, so I was watching some guy watch randomly. EG Flow, Keenan knows who he is. He was playing the demo, and his channel's pretty not too rough, but people in the chat are not always like very helpful. But everyone was talking about Monster Hunter, and because he had never played it, and everyone was giving him suggestions. Everyone was like talking to each other about Monster Hunter. It was all very positive. It was amazing. People were asking questions to each other and answering each other about the beta. Like it was awesome. Like super helpful, super positive. So I guess that's sort of reflective of what you're talking about. Like,
don't you think?
And it's totally true. Like, you know, you beating lower level monsters with new people is super fun.
So good. How fun was it? We kited Sloppy over to.
Yeah.
I don't know any of the new monster names yet.
No, I know. It starts with an A. I don't know what. Yeah.
Yeah. So we nicknamed this. Well, he's pretty slimy. He's kind of like a slug with legs. Is that fair?
Yeah. Got like a whale head almost. It's really strange.
It dives in the water, sort of thing.
So we kited Sloppy over to Baroth, and when he like wraps around him and he's like up in the air, it was so good, so exciting. I love the way the monsters fight each other. We had the same thing, wasn't it? Was it the T-Rex?
New one, the T-Rex
with the
one,
wings. Yeah. Going up with Rathalos.
Freaking classic Rathalos.
He just picks him up,
drops him off. So I love that it's like the new monster, and you're like, oh shit, this new monster's gonna fuck Rathalos up, right?
He just gets wrecked.
He gets wrecked. Because you know what Rathalos does to the players, right?
Mm-hmm. I like
Rathalos is classic. I mean, he's been around from the beginning. Yeah. You see Rathalos.
One thing I really, when you were saying about Twitch and how people were giving suggestions, don't you think Monster Hunter is totally like, it's like parenting where everybody has opinions and suggestions on how to do it?
Yes. Right? The stuff was people spamming, try this weapon.
Yeah, this weapon. You got to do it like this. Try to do this. And it's not like you have to do it or you're an idiot. It's you got to try this because I love it and I want you to feel the same thing, you know?
Exactly. It's everyone has their baby and they're like, no, please, like use this one, use this weapon. Hammer Bros unite. Half the time it's like people in chat like saying shit like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's really fun. I'm really excited. And I like that. I think the buzz that I'm hearing online and just from, you know, having my ears open a little bit, it sounds like people are excited, like super positive. Everybody's got really good things to say about it. Like it seems like it's poised to at least do decently here on PS4. So do you have any reservation about it being on console though instead of portable?
No, I actually, I mean, you know me, I think maybe I've talked with listeners. I loved the fact that it was 3D because you could space things. You could see how far the monster was away. I know you didn't like that. But actually now that this is like the graphics are like modern and just better, I get, you know, I don't need the 3D. If it looks like this, I'm happy.
Like, for me, it's not so much a graphics thing for me. It's more of a, I mean, that's part of the reason why I love the Switch so much is because I can pick it up, use it where I'm using it, and then just stop using it. Right. Where with the PS4, I got to go over to the thing. I got to turn it on. I have to be in the basement. I have to have this, you know, I have to sit down for a little while. Like it's not as easy as just plug and play, you know?
Yeah. But I don't know, like, you know,
I'm still gonna play the shit. Don't get me wrong. Like, it's gonna be great, and I'm really excited. I am absolutely gonna play it a ton.
And some suggestion or hints, or the people have been finding out that they're going to be adding free DLC like monsters, just adding it like they use to support with DLC just for free, and it'll be monsters and stuff. Mm-hmm. So that'll be really cool.
I just hope I don't fall off of it like I've done before. Like, honestly, having you two be there constantly, the ease of access, having
you guys around. No, you're staticky as shit. Something happened.
Super staticky, just there. Yeah, something happened. I heard what you said.
You expect him to buy a nice microphone. It says bullshit.
No,
it's okay.
No, it's the same.
Snowstorm.
Yeah, it's a snowstorm, literally. Well, maybe we'll give Keenan some time to. So Keenan, you're going hunting horn. It seems like you've settled on that.
I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
You're not allowed to talk anymore.
Yeah, you gotta fix that. Chris, Hammer. I'm assuming is going to be your main.
Yeah.
Point, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know what Don ended up liking.
You just played a bunch of different things. I think if you have not played Monster Hunter before, I think a good place to start is maybe Dual Blades because it's a little more hack and slashy.
Yeah. I guess interesting, like to talk about archetypes of what people would like, right? I think Hammer is for sure a good one if you want to be technical, not in terms of like how much you can do with the weapon, but more about how you approach the monster and you're trying to hit its head. So it's all about trying to target that head, right?
And it's great because it's dangerous to be by his head as well.
Yeah. So it's a real risk reward, and the rewards are awesome for Hammer. The one that I'm not too familiar with, but seems kind of similar in that regard, is the Great Sword. So you're
absolutely
slow, super heavy if you can connect, but dangerous. Then you got the dual blades, which are very like tons of small hits, and you can just like dance around the monster. Some people like to play like that. You got your long sword, which is sort of I think I haven't played it with it, but it's got like a technical aspect to it. You can do some fancy jumps and slashes and stuff. The one cool one that I've never really put time into is the sword and shield, which is the thing about that one is you can use items without putting your weapon away. That's the only class that can do that. So apparently you can do some neat stuff that way. It's a completely different kind of style. And then you've got your, what's the other ones here? The Lance, which actually I saw a really cool video showing off the new Lance moves that you don't see if you actually play the beta. And the Lance actually got me excited when I saw that video. There's some really cool stuff you can do with the Lance that I recommend checking this video. I'll have to find the link to it, but it got me hyped for the Lance for sure. So the Lance, if people haven't played, it has a shield, so it's very much kind of like a block attacks and counter type class or weapon. So you can block almost anything in the game, but it uses stamina, and you can use some timing to do your blocks and get benefits from being like kind of parrying almost with the shield. And one of the things that the Lance does is you can continually chain your attacks and not stop. Like you can continually go through a combo and adjust your position. And then Gun Lance is kind of like a lance, but you can shoot stuff, which is actually pretty cool. There's some neat moves with that one. My old main was that one, and then the other one was a Charge Blade, which is like one of the morph weapons. There's like 2 morph weapons in the game. People who really like technical stuff that has a lot of combos and different little tricks and things, Charge Blade probably be the best one for them, but it requires a lot of time and effort to really learn how to use it properly. So if you don't use it properly, you're not going to be doing very much stuff. And then you've got the ranged weapons, which I've never really tried. I think Chris, you tried some of the ranged weapons before, right? The heavy bowgun stuff, right?
A little.
Okay. So, I mean, the thing about that is I think I tried a couple of the ranged weapons. If you try the beta and don't realize that like each of the weapon or each of the ammo types does different stuff, that's where your complexity is in those weapons. It's the coatings, it's the ammos. It's not so much in the point and shoot. Like there's a few moves you can do and a few dodges, but there's not as much as the other stuff. So it might seem pretty boring, but it's all about like when to use what ammo.
Yeah, right? But I mean, like for newbie, they need to start out simple, right? For maybe like a more experienced person, they want to go ahead and try all that stuff. So
but simple.
Like I know for me and Don, it's really what it comes down to for us. I think is going to be learning. Like you guys are saying it clearly in the match that we needed to learn about getting out of the way and like running away and knowing the timing for going away to recover, basically, right? Is a big part of Monster Hunter. Mm-hmm. Like it's not even as like something like Dark Souls or Demon Souls is a little bit more intense because it's just one-on-one all the time. Mm-hmm. But I think balancing that in a team is going to make Monster Hunter more accessible. I think like playing with you guys and having you guys be there all the time. And I think like honestly, that's what I was trying to get at before is how that's going to be the thing that pushes me to stick it through this time, because like playing on 3DS and all that stuff is just so tough getting together and all that stuff. It's just I didn't want to deal with it, and it was to get into a game that I don't know, to me always looked real crappy and everything like that and blocky, and I just didn't want to deal with any of that kind of thing. It was just way too much.
You know, as much as oh, sorry, go ahead, Keenan. I was going to comment on that.
And yeah, I don't know. Like, I think this time, like, this is why I said I'll give this a real hard chance because, frankly, like, I think this is the best way to do it. Because
and don't you guys think that it's a video game though? Do you know what I'm saying by that? I don't feel like, you know, with Destiny, it's man, I'm getting microtransaction and they're doing something where I'm trying to make money off me when I'm doing like it doesn't feel like they're doing it because it's a video game. Like I get video games are to make money, right? They're selling a product.
Yep.
But I feel like Destiny is how can we get people to continue playing and how can we make money off of that? And I feel like Monster Hunter is one of those games where it's like, we're going to make a game because like video games are awesome.
Yeah. And if they keep that, like, I think if they keep that, like the thing that I remember the most, like back in living in Japan in 2005 was having like just walking around places, seeing kids, 4 kids together, obviously all had their PSPs out and they were all playing Monster Hunter together. And that just looks so fun. Like
remember how we live in Canada?
Yeah, I know. but that's like the point is I think they're keeping that core, like they're keeping that here, right? Like Capcom's already done so much crap to Street Fighter to make it more microtransaction heavy and all that kind of stuff, right? And they didn't do that with Monster Hunter. We take it at face value.
And how fast do people respond to it positively? Like
exactly.
People are just loving this shit. People love talking about it and maybe it's just where I read, but what I've seen, people are really excited about this game because it's a game.
Yep.
Yeah. And there's a lot of people excited, new people, it seems like, that are excited. They're asking questions. And like, if you go to the Monster Hunter Reddit, if you go, like, you'll see people that are new that are asking questions about, like, how does this weapon work? Like, should I main this? And like, you know what I mean? And it's exciting to read that even, like, because I remember when I was trying to decide what I wanted to use, and I still think about it. Like, I'm still trying to decide what to pick.
Wasn't Capcom's goal with World to get new people into the series, right? Make it a little more accessible for people to jump in. And it seems like it's working. That's been their message from day one.
Yep.
And I think that they've been selling it really well because people are interested. I think there's a lot of people. I know a few people that tried to get into 3U or 4 and struggled to because it's obtuse and because it's slow and because it's shitty and because whatever. Like you have to forgive quite a bit from Monster Hunter games to enjoy Monster Hunter games. And I feel this takes care of a lot of those problems.
Yeah, I agree. And I wanted to say, Keenan, like, I hope you do enjoy playing solo as well, because solo is a bit different, mostly for the reason that it is one-on-one with the monster.
And we can't carry you.
Yeah, and you learn so much. It's more personal. Like, it feels even better when you beat a monster on your own. And all the monsters are different. So, like, you might fight a bunch of monsters on your own and be like, oh, that's not too bad. Like, I've kind of got a feel for this monster. The more you fight that same monster, the more you get a feel for like their ins and outs and when to get in and when to get out. And if you're playing with a group of people, there's less, a lot less to worry about for sure in terms of like, he's not targeting me, so I can just wail on him. But like, you'll miss some of the game, not all of it, but you'll miss some aspect. Yeah,
maybe I won't. I'm not interested in that, Tim. Like this is a thing. Like if I want to go play something like that, to me, I should go back and play Neo. Yeah,
no, it's not.
To me, I think I should go back and play Neo and all those games because to me, what that is just reading the enemy and like dodging it and all that stuff.
You're right and you're wrong. Like I agree with you. Neo and the other games are one-on-one and it's intense, but with Monster Hunter, it's not as intense as a boss fight.
Good.
As a boss fight in Neo or Bloodborne or Dark Souls.
I don't know about that. Like, not at all. I'm not sure if that's the case, and that's building that up. Like mechanically, it's pretty much the same.
I'm telling you, it's not, and I could probably explain reasons why. I played enough Bloodborne, I played enough Dark Souls. I haven't played Neo, but I mean, Bloodborne's harder than any of those. It's probably the hardest out of all of them, and it's easier partially because you got buffs you can use, and they're not like expensive. You can bring a ton of potions into a fight, like you're not going to get one shot by a lot of enemies solo. Unless it's like, I don't know, the 10th monster in, and it's like a story mission, and it's supposed to be a little bit hard, and it expects that you're a little better at fighting monsters, and you got hit with like 1 out of its 10 attacks, and then maybe he did another attack right at the right time after, and that doesn't happen every fight at all. It probably happens once every like 20 fights that you're going to get maybe comboed by the monster, but it's not a routine thing. And there's a lot of room for running away if you're struggling. There's a lot of room for just watching the monster. You don't have to be stuck in an arena with it. Like, it's different. It's a different game. You could run away. You can go back to the base camp. You can eat a meal and get a buff. You can drink a special potion that makes you run faster. Like, there's so many ways to mitigate, and there's traps, and there's more depth to that fight than there would be a similar boss fight in Bloodborne. Right.
I don't know. You just made it sound like there's an easier time with it because you can run completely away from it.
Yeah.
So,
well, that's one good reason. One good reason. There's I gave you a bunch. So I hope you'll try it. It starts off easy anyway.
I know, but I might not be looking for that, and that's
Fair
really what
enough,
it comes down to. So, but the thing that I would say though, like the thing that I think, going back to Chris's point about where all this stuff is coming from, like the thing that's kind of amazing to me is, and this is for later, kind of like just talking about the video game awards. You saw what got like all the hype and everything like that, but you look at the undercurrent for what really spoke to a lot of gamers this year was this so far, Monster Hunter World, Neo, talking about like Yakuza.
Yeah,
and,
fucking single player experiences.
You know,
that's
single player
experiences.
About. They don't have to look like they look good and they have great art direction, but they don't have to look like the freaking like they spent like $100 million to make it look like the CG from something else, right? From Avengers or something like that, right? They just had to make it look decent enough. Gameplay had to be good. Story was good. And they didn't try to nickel and dime you to get you into making their budget for $100 million, right? Yes.
I'm so happy that you said that, because that's exactly how I'm feeling with video games now. I want to play video games. I don't want to play like products. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And I know maybe I'm being too idealistic with this or whatever, but I think of it, just think about comparing it to food and food product, right? You can eat food, and it's, you get some broccoli, you get some.
Sounds good already.
What else? Broccoli, chicken. You get a nice chicken breast. You can get some
rice.
Rice. Get food. But you could also go down in the like frozen aisle, whatever. You pick up some Lunchables for your kids for their fucking. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Yes.
And one's good for you. Analogy. And the other one is just, I'm pushing this shit out because it's easy and because I know it's going to make money. And I'm looking for the easiest way, the cheapest way for me to put this out so that I can maximize profits. Only this way it's, we're going to spend a ton of money to make sure people play this game and that they spend more money after they buy it.
But it's funny. You feel like, I don't know, there was a reckoning. Like if you look at like I wanted to talk about this too, is Battlefront, like they only sold like 800,000 copies or some stuff like last month. So
in a year when we have a new Star Wars movie coming out.
Yeah. That is disgusting, considering how much money, time, and effort. And now there's that whole petition to take away the entire Star Wars license away from it. But whatever. Like it's amazing to me that happened. But also at the same time, it's not surprising because I think there's a lot more people feeling the same way that you, me, and Tim do about that kind of thing, right? We're looking for this kind of stuff like Monster Hunter World. And those are the games that were surprise sellers, that were the ones that didn't have the crazy microtransactions every 5 seconds,
And think about what came out this year that was a massive disappointment. It's Destiny 2, Street Fighter 5, Battlefield, or Battlefront.
Call of Duty as well.
Like it's all the games that make you feel like they're trying to nickel and dime you are not doing well because people don't like being nickeled and dimed. I want to play a game.
Yep.
Fuck, I'm so angry now.
Let's talk about. Well, actually, I wanted to talk about one other thing I played this week because I didn't play too much, but I wanted to talk about it. It's important. So I picked up Doom VFR for PlayStation VR. Look forward to this for quite a while. It's Bethesda ZeniMax Studios, I think, produced it. Compatible with that AIM controller that costs $90-something in Canada, which I did not buy.
And you didn't have the experience. You can't talk shit about it.
So compatible with just the DualShock and compatible with the Move controllers, right? So I'm like, I want to use the Move controller. So I started up. Feels pretty awesome right away. Like you're holding your hands out, you know, the usual with the games that have the Move controllers. You know, you can aim your weapons, and it's awesome because it's Doom weapons, and it feels like I'm in a friggin' Doom game. It looks gorgeous, like really good graphics. So I'm in the tutorial, and I'm walking forward. There's like a strafe forward button, and there's a teleport because you point where you want to go, and it's a mechanic of the game and helps you move around as well. Because first-person shooters with Move controllers is not easy to do, and they want it to have this mechanic so you can point and teleport to a location. And there's story reasons for why that is. You're like a robot and not the main character from Doom. I get to a wall. Okay, got to turn. How am I going to turn? Trying every button on the controller. I can strafe sideways. I can strafe forward and back. All 4 buttons on my left Move controller do strafing, right? And they're not even in like up, down, left, right. You know how they're turned sideways. Those are the buttons you have to use for strafing. Fine, I can deal with that. Nothing allows you to turn. Nothing. There's no way to turn. I pull the headset off, look up online. How do I turn? Oh, you can't turn with Move controllers. You have to turn your whole body. In a first-person shooter with a wired headset, with first-person shooter environments where I don't know where I'm going to stand. I don't know which way I'm turned. Like a minute into the game, if I'm doing that, I could be turned around and like left over and over. I can also block the friggin' controllers from the PlayStation camera, so the system can't see where my hands are. They didn't implement a way for you to fucking turn in the game. Even what we talked about, Chris, what's it called? Rec Room. Rec Room figured it out in the friggin' paintball mode. You can turn, you can move around, you can play paintball. It's easy. They couldn't figure it out in Doom. So currently I'm waiting for a patch so I can play the game. So that's my review of Doom.
Can I tell you what I was thinking about while you were saying that?
Don't pick that up. Yeah.
Tokyo's Xanadu EX.
No, in Monster Hunter, how when you're out of combat, you have infinite stamina, and that completely changes the game for me. That's like one of the best quality of life things I've ever heard of.
Right.
That's all.
Yeah. No. Right. Great.
Is that no turn thing? Is that a real thing, or is that a Tim thing?
No, go and look on the forums. You can't turn with new controllers. Dead serious. They wanted you to turn physically in your room.
Yeah.
Because they designed it for Vive and Oculus and stuff where you can do that, I guess.
Yeah.
Whatever. But they're like, they didn't test it. And then you get these friggin' white knights on the forums who are like, but that's how they designed it. Just spend some more time with it. Oh, you know what you can do? There's one button that lets you do a 180 degree like insta flip. So you're facing the opposite direction. That's their solution. So it's like, it's so awkward, man. It's awful. What they should have done was, instead of using that button for a 180 degree turn, make it so that it resets your view to wherever you're looking. Easy, simple solution. Or take away the left and the right strafe buttons, or the up and the down strafe. Like, you already have a teleport to move.
I love how Tim says that this is so easy when when people have been messing around with movement in virtual reality since the first. No, I'm just saying. No, I'm just saying that you're making it sound like it's so simple, but like
it is simple.
There have been lots of experiments with how movement works in virtual reality. I just played Rec Room.
They figured it out.
I'm telling you that there has been for a long time since the prototype Oculus.
Right.
Okay.
But if you
they've tried all sorts of different ways. Okay. And it's not
try
just
the way that I just suggested, nor is it in the game. And that's all I would want to fix the problem. Literally, take 2 of those strafe buttons away, which you don't even need, and I'll let you turn 30, 45 degrees, or let me adjust whichever degrees I want. It would totally make the game playable. I'm telling you that. Because I played Resident Evil. It has a little... You use the stick to do it.
That's what you should say. You should say that it has Resident Evil. But jumping it to wherever you're looking at is not...
Skyrim figured it out. Same studio.
It's not a solution, man.
Skyrim figured it out. Same studio. With moves. Yeah. How to navigate a 3D environment.
I totally agree, but not looking at a place and then making a button center you to that place. This isn't Dynasty Warriors, okay? You can't have it like that in virtual reality.
Rec Room does it, and it works perfectly.
All right.
We'll play Rec Room. Me and Chris both played it. You can center your view.
Yeah, I played it too, but like on a Oculus before. Like,
well,
so
worked fine for me. Yeah. That's the only option they had for Move. You couldn't customize your controls at all. They didn't give you options, and they're actually I went on the community forums, and there is an option. Like people suggested many solutions, including the one I said, and they're like, yeah, we're looking into this. We're going to be like adding a bunch of options for people. So it's coming out at some point. So thank goodness, because I wouldn't have gone back to it. Everyone's like, oh, play with the aim control. I'm like, I'm not paying another $100 just to play a 4-hour game that I already spent $30 on, when you couldn't just add a bit of customization to your controls.
There you go.
That's all I have to say about
that. I don't really have a lot to say about Tokyo Xanadu. It's a poor man's Persona.
I want to hear about it. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's a good poor man's Persona is what you're telling me on the weekend.
Yeah, it's just Falcom, the thing that sucks about it is I started off, I'm like, I'm going to do the Persona thing. I'm going to do all like the school shit and talk to people and do the life, whatever. I got like 4 chapters in, and so what, like maybe 15 hours in. And I was just like, I don't give a fuck about any of this. So I started just skipping story and only doing the dungeons. They let you just blast through story. The Persona won't let you skip anything. Where this one, you hit start, it's like you skip all the story to the next action. And I've been enjoying it more since I started doing that. But it sucks because it takes away some of the excitement, some of the connection to characters and stuff. Like I have 2 characters on my team. I have no idea their background or their history or anything, because they're like, okay, you have a new guy. I'm like, okay. And then I use him for a little while, right? Mm-hmm. It's okay. It started off, I was very excited. I was excited with how it started. It looks like shit, but it looks like shit in a good way. It looks like a B game, right? It looks like a Vita game that was ported to PS4.
Which it was, right?
Yeah. It's, you know what? It's not horrible. I enjoy it. The dungeon stuff is cool. There's an interesting mechanic where, so you get ranked on your performance in dungeons. And I'm really, really happy that what they did is that they give you your rank before you fight the boss. So you run through the dungeon, you get your rank at like the boss door, and then you fight the boss after. And so you don't really, like, your focus is on getting high ranks in the dungeon itself without having to worry about performing well on the boss, right? Like they're kind of 2 separate things. So I appreciated that.
Yeah.
The thing that's really interesting about it is that you bring 3 characters in and you can swap between them on the fly.
Okay.
And each of them has a different elemental weapon.
Right.
And so before you go to a dungeon, it'll tell you, there's this many that are weak to fire, this many weak to ice, this many weak to wind, this many weak to shadow.
Oh, okay.
And you have to choose which of your team you're going to bring in to fight, to do which guys. Mm-hmm. And so what you can do is when you target somebody, like you do the lock on, it'll tell you what the enemy's weak to. And so you switch your character to the character with that elemental weapon, tear them down, move on to the next one. And so you're trying to build up your combo of killing these guys, but you're getting bonus points for killing them with elemental, for doing aerial kills, for doing overkills. Like you're trying to play it so that you're building up your combo and keeping it running, right?
Okay.
The thing that's interesting about it is that when you break boxes, it keeps the combo open. Like you get a combo hit when you break a box,
right?
And there's boxes all over the place. And so if you know that you're going to have to double back because you have to hit a switch or something, you break a box, don't clear the room. You break a box, run over, hit the switch, come back and hit the box to keep your combo up, and then run to the next room, right?
Right.
So it's super fast paced. It's strategic in that sense. It's a lot of fun. I really, really dig the game part. It's just
it's through the simulation visual novel crap.
It's fucking so boring,
dude. I think you're really gonna like Ease when I lend it. Remind me during Christmas and I'll lend you my copy, because it has similar-ish mechanics for combat, and it's less heavily on story. But what there is there, it's just like it's not a lot of stuff, and you can just like it's not a burden to read and pay attention to, and it's got like the base building stuff and shit. So it's like,
yeah, it sounds good. It's just the
missions.
The thing with this is that like even the story itself, I was kind of enjoying though. Like it's interesting enough. It's got. I was trying to explain to Kenan on the weekend. Like it's like Persona if they took a different direction after Persona 2. All right, so it's not as high school waifu bullshit.
That actually sounds good.
Right? So it's not as like occultish and I don't want to say dark, but not as, you know what I'm saying? Like
that doesn't sound that good then. I like that part of Persona.
And so do I. And it's got pieces of it, but it's not as
rooted in reality.
There's a word I'm looking for. Like not occultish is a shitty word. Arcane. You know what I'm saying though, right?
Yeah,
like Persona 1, Persona 2 have a very, very different vibe from 3 and 4 and 5.
Yes.
And I feel like Tokyo Xanadu rides the middle between those two.
Okay.
So it's more interesting than modern Persona, but not as interesting in aesthetic as the first two.
Or Nocturne.
Or definitely not Nocturne.
Yeah.
Nocturne's amazing.
Nocturne takes it in like further in that direction.
Yeah. So it's not bad. It feels a lot like Persona. Like, and even you can tell that was the inspiration too, because like the music sounds like Persona music. This is Falcom's Persona.
New Persona music, not old Persona music.
Right. And like I say, it's not bad. It's okay. The battle stuff is way more interesting than the daily life stuff. But it's not as creepy. It's not as New Japan.
No.
And I appreciate that. It's just they talk forever. And
that's what Persona 5 did, right?
Well, and you know what? It's not as bad as Persona 5 because Persona 5 is like, here's a concept. Let's talk about it into the ground so you understand what's happening. Like we're going to go over the same plot points repeatedly to make sure that you're following along. Where this one is just there's a lot of story. Right? There's a lot of shit that happens. And it
sounds like you got to be in the right mood for Tokyo Xanadu, maybe. Maybe put it aside for now.
Well, no, but I'm never going to go back and play it.
Yeah, that's true.
So I'm going to play a little bit. You know what? I don't really have any games coming out until Monster Hunter and Dragon Ball.
All right.
And so I'm going to try to work through it a little bit and see. But I mean, the claws are not dug in. The claws have not dug in like I would expect them to. But well, not that I expected much out of Tokyo Xanadu.
That's what I was going to say. I thought it was going to be shit, right?
Yeah, it's better than I expected. How's that?
Yeah, good.
It's okay. It's a 3 out of 5. It's all right. Yeah. What? Talk about news. I have 3 things that I want to just very quickly throw at you guys.
I also wanted to maybe talk about the Game Awards and go through some of the points from that.
Sure. Yeah. My 3 things. Do either of you guys care about what's that game? Last Guardian. There's a Last Guardian VR thing comes out tomorrow.
Yeah, tonight.
And it's free, right?
Did you sell your copy? I thought you did.
You don't need it. It's standalone.
No, you don't.
Oh.
Yeah, so I'll probably download that and just check it out. But I don't know. Who cares? Whatever. Gang Beasts comes out for PS4 tomorrow as well.
Is it VR?
Yeah, it is. It is VR.
Yes, that might be fun.
Am I buying this thing? Is this going to be our New Year game or what?
It might be our New Year game. We need a lot of people there, and we need a lot of controllers, and there'll be lots of fun.
Well, we got everybody's coming. Everybody's in.
Yeah, Game Beasts would be fun. All right.
It's all right. I'll pick that up then.
Cool.
And then the third thing was Bayonetta 3 announcement. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that was neat.
I'll check it out. Not what I was expecting at all, but I'll take it. Sure.
It's a good indicator of how strong, I guess, the Switch sales are, that Sega would be willing to do that. Because considering, like, I don't think Bayonetta 2 sold all that well, right? And they're willing to do this. Yeah.
I mean, there's the Bayonetta 1-2 release coming first, and then Bayonetta 3 afterwards. I'm okay with that. I might actually double dip.
Wow.
I just might. I don't know. Cool. We'll see.
I saw a couple cool things from the VGAs as well. What do you call it? The Soul Calibur 6 announcement. That'll be that's my league. I've always been a Soul Calibur guy. It's probably my best fighting game, so I'll be looking forward to that a lot. And then there's a Street Fighter 30th anniversary collection. Did you see that? It's like it has like
it's great because
games.
It's Street Fighter 2, Street Fighter 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 3, 3, 3.
Alpha.
Yeah, well, yeah, all three alphas. Cool.
Except the one thing is they made Alpha 3 online, and I don't ever understand the love that Alpha 3 gets. I know it has the biggest roster, but that game feels like mush. There's air hits after the fact. It's just a really nasty playing game. It never feels sharp.
How'd you feel about EX plus Alpha?
EX plus Alpha is the shit.
it's so good.
But they can't do that because they don't work well with Akira anymore. So Arika, sorry.
I think I am interested in the anniversary collection, but I'm not going to buy it. If EX plus Alpha was in it, I may. Actually, speaking of, they just announced their new game too, eh?
Oh, Arika did? Finally?
Yeah. I'll look up what it's called. It's something stupid. I'll look it up. You guys talk about something else. What do you think about it? Did you see anything about One Piece World Seeker?
I heard about it, but I didn't see anything on the actual awards.
It kind of looks like shit. I'm not.
Way to know.
The other thing was the new Death Stranding videos. What the fuck is that?
I'm so glad I've pre-ordered that.
It looks real good.
Yeah, like again, I was on Twitch during this, and the chat was amazing. It was amazing.
What am I watching?
You're watching the craziest shit from I don't even understand like how Kojima like has a budget and people at Sony are like looking over his shoulder like saying, "Oh, are you? Oh, okay, yeah." Yeah, that looks like a game. or a narrative. That looks like a narrative.
It looks great. And
Del Toro was there.
But how realized is the world though, right? Like the thing that totally got me was the little clicky claw things on their backs that are like the spotters for like the invisible shit. Holy
cool, man.
Like there are some good images in there. Like things that really stuck with me after I watched the trailer.
Yeah.
Like the thing
it was a stream of what the fucks in chat, like just continuously.
And like the baby thing, and it like that was really cool. Like there's
thumbs up.
What is going on?
Oh, I loved that, and I loved how Del Toro was there with him and friggin' that other dude because he was doing. Remember when he was going to be in PT, and then Konami canned it. Friggin' the actor,
Norman Reedus and
Norman Reedus,
it
was Silent Hills.
Yeah, Silent Hills, right. That was all very fun. Did you guys see the freaking interview with the developer of that one game, A Way Out? Did you see that?
Yeah.
People should, holy crap. Okay, from what I understand is this guy, developer, and I guess EA publishes his game, and he shits on EA. He's drunk or high or both. And he gets up there with Jeff, and he's just going on and on, and he's saying he's jet lagged, and that's why he's acting. And he just... You can see Jeff's trying to like stop him, and he shits on EA, shits on the Oscars. It was amazing. So that was a highlight.
Really, I didn't think that was a highlight.
I thought it was hilarious.
I thought A Way Out looked okay, but like he's the brothers game guy, right? That's the same.
Oh, it's the guy. No, I didn't care about the game. It was the interview. I was really excited about 2 of the VR games announced, even though I haven't played Job Simulator other than the demo. They announced Vacation Simulator, which hopefully it's a bit longer, a bit more media experience. And they announced Accounting Plus, which is coming out in like a couple weeks. I'll be playing that for sure. It looks great. I don't know if anyone saw the videos for those, but
yeah, Accounting I think was already on the PC VRs as well. So
yeah, I didn't know anything about it. So
I have some news. This is breaking news that you guys need to know right now.
Yeah.
So that the new Arcade fighting game is called Fighting EX Layer.
Oh, I heard the name.
There is a beta available for PS4 right now that you can download. and Skullomania is playable.
Okay.
Hey man, you gotta sell copies.
Hell yeah,
sell copies.
All right.
So I'll be downloading that, and we can talk about that next time. Playable until December 25th. So enjoy for 3 weeks.
One of the other games I thought was cool is Witchfire. I don't know what's coming out for, but it's like almost like Bloodborne, but a first-person shooter. If it's VR, I'll be like 100% in. But even if it's not, it looks really, really fun. It almost looks like what are those old, like Hexen, like a modern Hexen, almost. So that's looking pretty sick. I don't know what else beyond that. Speaking of stuff coming out, though, I'll just briefly mention tonight, if anyone out there has VR and is liked Resident Evil 7, both of the big DLCs that they were spending forever on are coming out tonight. One's free if you own the game, and one is, I think, $10-15 or something. I don't think they're going to be very long, but it's still more Resident Evil 7. Yeah, if you want to know more about the story, if you want to be more in that world, it would be pretty fun. Oh, Chris, did you try? Speaking of VR, did you try Super Hot VR? Or no, you didn't pull the trigger on it.
Too expensive.
I'm close to it. People keep talking about it now that more people.
Did you play it on something else?
No, supposedly it's really well done. Like
Whoa! You didn't play it on? Did you play it on something else or no?
No, I didn't. No. Oh no, I played it. Not VR. Not the VR.
No, and see, that's where I'm stuck. If I didn't play it otherwise, then I would 100% jump in. And I would recommend to anybody who hasn't that would play it in VR first to, like, I don't care how much it costs, buy it, right?
You know it's a different game though, right? It's a totally different like set of stuff. It's not like playing the original Super Hot. It's its own thing. It's a separate experience. But anyway, and so on Super Hot News, they're doing a free for their base game. They're doing a free big expansion, and there's like a whole roguelike mode that they're adding with like challenges and shit. It's supposedly pretty cool. So actually, even though I'd want to just play in VR, I may go back and play that one once that comes out. I think it's available in beta.
Chris and I have it, so we can play it and tell you how it is if you want.
Yeah. No, I kind of want to play it anyway. I don't know. I think it's available I can't remember. You have to have some certain account, and then you can actually play it now. But it sounds cool. I can't remember what they called the expansion, but it's like
jump in the pool. Come on, the water's warm. It's great.
No, I have played it. I played the original.
No, but you don't own it. You don't own it.
What? I do.
You do?
I own it
on PC, you bought it? Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. I played that one.
Okay.
So, yeah, no, it's amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Now you have your new rig, so you can play it in higher res. So let's go.
It was fine. That thing runs on everything, I think. Super Hot. I never had a problem running that. But no, you're right. Yeah, that's all I got.
I don't mean to cut you gentlemen off, but we're at about an hour.
No, we should cut it off.
What are we looking forward to?
One last thing. Did anyone? I don't know. You guys aren't into Bloodborne, but I think they essentially announced the sequel. From Software had a little tiny sneak preview, basically one little animated cinematic, and then a quote, and basically it has to be Bloodborne 2, based on that. So that's pretty exciting for people who love Bloodborne, because no one thought they were going to get a sequel.
As well as people who played it for 5 hours, like Tim.
No, more than that.
I played it for 6, you fucker.
If it was an Armored Core, I don't care. Okay. All right, that's it.
Talk to you next week.
All right,
bye.